Guys, sustainableplatform.com. He's selling his data to 30 fund managers that care about ESG data. He takes this out of 22,000 company reports like Tesla, sells it to him for $4,000 a month on average, doing $95,000 a month today, up from $70,000 a year ago. Launched in 2017 when he did just 2,500 in total revenue. He's basically bootstrapped, raised 500K. Last chunk of that was 100K at an 8 million post money valuation. Profitable, which is great, with a team of 6 as he looks to scale, hoping to double revenues from $1 million to $2 million in terms of AR this year. Hey, folks, my guest today is Mark Andrich. He's the founder of Sustainable Platform, a SaaS data provider dedicated to providing the most important sustainability data and risk metrics to help fund managers invest sustainably. Mark has a PhD in engineering and previously worked as an analyst and trader at EWE World Fund in New York. Mark, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, let's go, Nathan. Thanks.
All right. Is there big money in ESG data?
There's big money with the fund managers making money with ESG data.
All right. Explain to me what you're selling to them and how are they using what you're giving them?
Okay, so we're providing independent data on companies to help investors understand the environmental and social credentials of what they're investing in, and how that relates to the performance metrics from a financial perspective as well.
So give me an example. What's a company that you cover?
So let's say a company might be, I don't know, Tesla. So yeah. So for example, we have 22,000 companies on the platform. So it's pretty much every globally listed company almost. So Tesla's making electric vehicles. That's their, I guess, primary product and service. We're looking at the product and service, saying, okay, how clean is the product you're making for the environment, and how good is it socially, and then comparing that with whatever other company you want to look at.
And so, what are the data endpoints you're providing to the investors? Is it tons of carbon released per year, or what are the actual endpoints?
So it might be, let's say, number of electric vehicles per year, but the impact of that from an environmental point of view. So how much fossil fuels a company's producing? Let's say how many how do I describe it? So you have it's more the impact of the company's product and service rather than just the operational metrics. So ESG tends to be, let's say, how much carbon emissions do I have? You might be let's say you might be a producer of something that is hurting people or harming the planet, but maybe you're doing it in an efficient way. ESG tends to give you a good mark for that.
What's an example of that? A good ESG mark, but harmful?
So maybe some types of weapons manufacturers, let's say, I don't know, a tobacco company. So they might produce their cigarettes year on year with lower emissions. Maybe they've got good workforce policies. I'll give you a good example. ESG tends to be a lot about disclosure and a lot about providing data. So I might disclose to you, Nathan, that I'm going to punch you in the face, right? And I might also tell you I've got a policy to not punch you in the face. Now, the impact is that I've still punched you in the face, even though I've got a great policy and I guess the impact is the same. So what we're looking at is, okay, is say Tesla providing a product that's helping people or harming people? How much is it helping people? How much is it harming people? And then how does that compare to the other car manufacturers, for example? So, we had VW as high risk because it produced diesel cars.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your Founder Path dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of Founder Path, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. And Mark, how are you? I mean, any company that's providing data, you're either structuring data better than somebody else, you have a data source nobody else has, or you're massaging the data some other way that others can't do themselves. What is your moat?
Yeah. So we take companies' publicly available information. So, their annual reports and their websites and things like that. And what we do is we actually translate that information. We take out the text, but we put it through a sustainability lens. So it's really the lens on a company's data that then allows us to create the risk metrics.
Why can't somebody else do that, though? I mean, why can't someone else build something to parse an annual transcript and get the same thing you're getting?
Someone can do, but they'll come up with different metrics, and it won't be as critical or as easily helpful for fund managers.
So your IP are the math formulas you run against data points you pull out of annual reports where this is what the fund managers care about in terms of ESG rankings.
Yeah, we know what it cares about. We also have tested it for performance and risk, so we can show 5 years of, say, time series data. Fund managers can be comfortable.
I see. Give us a taste of that. What are 2 metrics fund managers really care about when it comes to ESG?
Say fossil fuel exposure. So how much are companies spending or selling with fossil fuels? Another one is their say SDG contribution, their Sustainable Development Goal contribution, because they want to see what type of sustainability impact they're making through the UN SDG lens.
I see.
And
all right,
and then yeah.
So how do you make money, right? So what are fund managers paying you on average for this data on an annual basis?
Well, on average, they're paying about $4K a month.
Okay. And what do they get? What do they get for that? Is it a number of data endpoints? Is it number of companies you're covering? Is it all 22,000 companies?
Yeah, so they get access to all 22,000 companies. They get access to risk metrics. They get access to our knowledge base. They get access to our SDG contribution, so our sustainability contribution charts that they can use in their reports. And they can also show their institutional investors or, they're actually getting their own sustainability assessment done independently, because what a lot of ESG fund managers or people do is they'll say, oh, look, we're sustainable, or we've got these ESG credentials. We're kind of like an independent, umpire on are they or are they not? And we give them that data so they can test it themselves before they go to market with it.
And Mark, how many fund managers or how many customers do you have today?
So we've got about 30 fund managers directly. indirectly, because we've got some partnerships, there's a few hundred.
So 4,000 times 30, you're doing about 120,000 bucks a month right now in revenue.
Yeah, we did about 95K last month.
95,000. Okay, and what's that up from? What was that exactly a year ago?
So a year ago it was about 70K.
70 or 7,000?
No, 70.
7,000. Okay, got it. And when did you launch the business? What year?
Launched it end of 2017. So we've been going quite a while.
Okay. Do you remember what first year revenues were?
Yeah, about 2,500.
How'd you support yourself back in those early days?
I was doing a lot of consulting work in kind of a similar area, but more like financial modeling and sustainability analysis. It was consulting work that paid for the business.
Were you a fund? Did you have your own fund at one point? How'd you build empathy for your customers?
Well, I worked for a fund. That's a really, really good question. I worked for a fund in New York in the early 2000s, and I love the idea of investing sustainably, but the term didn't really have any meaning, or I hadn't even heard of it back then. Really, I tried to invest sustainably myself with the ESG data that was available and with what companies were reporting, and it was just impossible. So I actually built them, or helped. I got some software developers to build it, but I built the models and the methodology by trying to invest sustainably myself in a way that also enhanced performance.
How many full-time folks are on the team today?
Full time, there's six.
Six of you guys. Okay, and are you the sole founder?
I'm the sole founder, yeah.
And bootstrapped, or you've raised a little bit?
We raised a little bit. We bootstrapped initially, but we've raised 500,000 over the past 3 to 4 years from friends, family, and employees have put in a little bit as well.
When was the last round?
We about a year ago.
Okay, and how much did you raise then?
There was 100,000 from yeah.
And how did you? So was this like a rolling note you just left open, or what was it? What was the cap on the 100,000 that you raised?
So it was around 8 mil.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. What we've done is really we've been very careful about who we've selected as combination of us selecting, with that sometimes they don't want us as well. But basically, we've been very careful about who we choose as as investors. But it's also, we also kind of would rather get customers than investors. And so we've just sort of gone along like that.
Yep. So when you take all the dilution from the 500K you've raised, what you still own more than 85-90% of the company?
Yeah, that's right. I own just over 90%. Yeah.
That's great. And I love, obviously, money from customers, especially if you're also, are you also profitable?
Yeah, we've been profitable for 3 years now.
I love that. Are we talking like 10 grand a month in profits, or like 100 grand, or you're basically like break even?
It's been kind of break even, but only because we've been investing as much in the product development as the revenue allows us to.
Yeah. So what do you think you grow to this year? You're at 1.1 million run rate right now. What do you think you finish with?
Well, depends on a new product launch. So we'll be hoping to double it this year, the revenue, but we actually have a new product which is allowing people to purchase company level reports, which we've done in the past. So now any company, any company or person could actually purchase a single company report, or
for how much?
Or commercially. So that's going to be, we've sold them in the past actually for 50,000 a year, but we're actually we've got them online at the moment for a non-commercial use at around 2,900
for the one report.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Basically all the data on the one company. Yeah.
We'll see. Do you ever get approached by these funds to just acquire you? And if so, if someone offered you, I don't know, $8 million all cash up front, do you sell?
Look, I guess we we talk to everybody. We haven't in the past done it, spoken to any funds like that. I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, we kind of part of our value proposition is that we're independent of the fund managers, and so we're actually able to give them, I guess, really good independent information. But we'll see. I mean, it's a pretty kind of exciting area, and it's been growing pretty fast. We also arranged, because of this podcast, to give a discount to your customers. I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but we've got a discount.
Yeah, give it to them now. What do you got?
So it's Latka, Latka 2023 for the company reports off our website.
And what's the URL? Where can they go to skip that?
Sustainableplatform.com.
All right, there you go, guys. If your fund manager's listening in, you want to understand ESG reports, sustainableplatform.com. Code is Latka 2023. Very cool. Mark, on that note, let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book?
The Prize by Daniel Yogan.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
No, not really.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building the platform?
Well, I don't know if it's building it, but LinkedIn for finding customers.
That's fair. Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Between 3 and 10.
What's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I got a new partner with 2 kids, and then I've got 2 kids myself, but they were abducted to Russia by their mother and grandparents a couple of years ago. So I try to call them every night. So that's
wow. Kind of
where it's in. Yeah,
that's a heck of a story. I want to dig deeper there, but we're sort of out of time. But you have four kiddos, 2 of them in Russia.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, very cool. And how old are you?
I'm 44, and if my kids are listening, they need to get hold of me.
There you go, guys. Kids, if you're listening to this, call your father. Okay. All right. Yeah. Last question, Mark. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
I wish I knew that when you're given 2 options, you actually have 4 options. So people say, do you want A or B? Well, you can actually choose neither, or you can choose both. I wish I'd thought of that and known that back then.
Interesting. Guys, sustainableplatform.com. He's selling his data to 30 fund managers that care about ESG data. He takes this out of 22,000 company reports like Tesla, sells it to them for $4,000 a month on average, doing $95,000 a month today, up from $70,000 a year ago. Launched in 2017 when he did just $2,500 in total revenue. He's basically bootstrapped, raised $500K. Last chunk of that was $100K at an $8 million post-money valuation. Profitable, which is great, with a team of 6 as he looks to scale, hoping to double revenues from $1 million to $2 million in terms of AR this year. Mark, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.